Hello everyone, this is Dr.P.Syamala from the Department of MBA, International Business, Acharya Nagarjuna University. Today's topic is regarding modern management theory. In previous classes, we have learned about classical, neoclassical, okay? And the third aspect is modern management theory under evolution of management thought, okay? So coming to modern management theory. Under modern management theory, we will study about quantitative approach, systems approach, and contingency approach. Okay, these three approaches will be studied under modern management theory. Coming to first one, which is nothing but quantitative approach. Okay, so what does quantitative approach means? This approach is also known as actually management science approach. Okay, quantitative approach is also known as management science approach or mathematical approach, okay, or decision theory approach or operations research approach. Okay, so quantitative approach can be called as either management science approach or mathematical approach or decision theory approach or operations research approach. So if we see, when did quantitative approach came into existence, means after and during and after the Second World War. Okay, so several thinkers like Herbert Simon, okay, see here, Herbert Simon, James March, and W.C. Churchman. So all these persons, they have made significant contributions towards this quantitative approach. Okay, so for the development of this approach, they have given their contributions, okay, significant contributions. And the advocates of this approach believes that the solutions to the problems of management can be found by using mathematical and quantitative techniques. Okay, so we all know that in any organization definitely problems will arise. So in order to resolve those problems, these persons, Herbert Simon, James Mark, and Churchman, they have advocated that, they believed that problems of management can be solved by using this mathematical and quantitative techniques. Okay, so this approach believes that if management is a logical process, then it can be expressed in mathematical symbols and relationships. Okay, so the management can be expressed in terms of mathematical symbols and relationships. So that's why they have given this quantitative approach theory. Okay, so we all know that mathematics has made inroads into all disciplines. Okay, in every subject we will see mathematics. So it has been universally recognized as an important tool of analysis and a language for precise expression of concept and relationship. Okay, so we can express them precisely by the help of this mathematical symbols or else mathematical these tools. Okay, so among these mathematical theorists, operations researchers call themselves as management scientists. Okay, so they are of view that if managing, organizing, planning, decision making, if it is a logical process, then obviously they think that they can be expressed in mathematical symbols and relationships. Okay, so the development of technology and the introduction of computers have brought mathematics and management closer to each other. Okay, so the study of problems, their analysis and finding out rational solutions is also close to decision theory school of thought. Okay, so first of all, why we are going for this mathematical approach means, if there are any management problems in the organization, they can be resolved with this application of the mathematical tools. Okay, so this analysis and finding out of all these rational solutions is This is close to decision making theory. We all know that about the decisions, okay, the decision theories and school of thought. Okay, so this approach also, as I said before, the interdisciplinary scientists were expected to develop optimal decisions about development of military resources also. Okay, so mathematical models were sought to be built for finding out optimal solutions of military problems. Okay, for that purpose also they have meant for to resolve the problems in the military. Okay, so if we see what were the features of this quantitative approach means, okay, so management is concerned with problem solving, okay, and must be mathematical tools to solve them. So this is first and foremost feature of quantitative approach. So definitely quantitative approach means problem solving is concerned there, and we are using mathematical tools. Then second feature, mathematical models can be developed by quantifying various variables of the problems. If at all there is any management problem, so we have to find out how many variables are there. So for that problem, in order to solve those problems, what are the affecting variables? X variable for problem Y, for problem A. Okay, for example, there is a problem A. So what are the effects that are what are the effects? Okay, for that problem means there would be many variables. Okay, so like variables like X, Y, Z. Okay, so 3 variables are there. So you have to quantify these variables and try to resolve these variables to get solution for this problem A. Okay, so mathematical models can be developed by quantifying, by measuring various variables of the problem. They will find out the alternative sources in order to resolve those problems. How many variables are there to resolve those problems? Okay, so that can be done with mathematical tools or models. Then mathematical symbols can be used to describe managerial problems. Okay, not only models, here also here we are using symbols. Okay, symbols can be used to describe the managerial problems. Okay, likewise mathematical tools, here models also, models used for measuring. Okay, symbols used for describing managerial problems. Okay, likewise mathematical tools, operations, research, simulation and model building, all these can be used to describe the managerial problems. Okay, so what are the problems and how we can resolve? So through these mathematical applications, operations, research, simulation, model building, so these are all the methods to find out the problems. Okay, so in order to describe the managerial problems, and if you see the use of this method of approach is spreading fast in management. Mathematical models are increasingly used in taking important decisions. Quantitative approach, however, it suffers from several limitations also. Okay, so what are those limitations means? This approach does not give any weightage to the human element. From the beginning, if you see, it talks about only the mathematical models, mathematical tools, mathematical symbols, problem solving, about the management. Okay, problem solving. So it doesn't show concern towards any human element. Okay, which is very important for every organization. So this is the first limitation. Then another limitation is this approach is based on unrealistic assumptions. So here we can say that all those are we are assuming that. Okay, so what would happen if we are using this? What would happen if we use this tool, if we use this model? Okay, so these are all only assumptions, those are not realistic. So this is also another limitation. Okay, so mathematical models cannot be considered as substitutes for sound judgment. Okay, so we cannot give a proper genuine judgment. Okay, why? Because mathematical models cannot be considered as substitute. Okay, so those are not only the substitute, we have to think logically also, not purely depending upon mathematical models only we cannot give a sound judgment. Okay, likewise major strategic problems of highly complex nature can be solved only by non-mathematical approaches. Okay, strategic problems of highly complex nature, there may be some problems, qualitative, quantitative, we can see. Okay, so qualitative, those are related with the human aspects, human emotions, or else the nature. Okay, so those cannot be quantified. So those aspects which cannot be quantified, okay, so by non-mathematical approaches. Okay, so it is another limitation for this study. Okay, so finally we can say that this mathematical or else quantitative approach is purely concerned with problem solving and must use mathematical tools to solve them. Okay, likewise mathematical models also used, they are used for developing by quantifying various variables of the problems. Likewise symbols are used to describe the managerial problems. Likewise operations research, simulation, model building, mathematical tools, these also can be used to describe the managerial problems. Okay, so this is about the quantitative approach. Now coming to systems approach. So this is second thing. Okay, after quantitative approach, okay, so under modern management theory, quantitative approach is the first aspect. Okay, then we are going to study about the second aspect, which is nothing but systems theory or its systems approach. Okay, so systems approach, what does systems approach means? Okay, we can say that systems approach is comparatively a new approach to the developing body of management thought. Okay, and if we see a common pitfall of the classical theory, behavioral theory and quantitative schools or approaches is that they stress one aspect of organization at the expense of others, whereas classical approach emphasizes the task and structure. We studied in our previous classes about classical approach and neoclassical approach. Okay, so if you see classical approach, it emphasizes on task and structure. Behavioral approach emphasizes on people, and quantitative approach emphasizes on mathematical decision making, which we have studied now. Okay, so however, it is difficult to know which aspect is more useful and appropriate in a given situation. What is needed is one broad, detailed conceptual framework that can help a manager diagnose a problem and decide which tool or combination of tools will best do the job. Okay, he has to find out. So the systems approach provides him this integrated approach to management problems. Okay, so we can say that systems approach as integrated approach. Okay, so according to this approach, every organization is a system made up of number of subsystems. Okay, so if you see who are the pioneers of this systems approach means Kenneth Boulding, R.A. Johnson and Chester Bernard. Okay, they have made significant contributions towards this systems approach or else systems theory. Here what this says means every organization is a system made up of number of subsystems, means they have different departments like sales department, production department, marketing department, IT department, HR department. Likewise, all those are the subsystems of the organization. Therefore, the subsystems are interrelated and interdependent. Okay, interrelated and interdependent. They form into a complex whole organization. Thus, a business is a system consisting of several departments. Okay, and each system has its own hierarchy. Okay, each subsystem has its own hierarchy of subsystems at lower levels. Okay, so hence organizations are systems within systems. Business organizations are viewed as energetic input-output systems. Okay, getting inputs, creating outputs. Okay, they import inputs such as materials. We all know inputs are nothing but the 5 M's: men, material, machinery, methods and money. Okay, so likewise labor, technology, information, all are used here from the external environment, which are considered as the inputs. Importing the inputs, and we are now converting them, transforming them into outputs in the form of products or services. Okay, so they exchange or export the output to an external environment, and the output is more than the input. Business organizations are in constant interaction with the external environment. Okay, here, so subsystems should be analyzed only in relation to each other. Why? Because they are interrelated and interdependent. Okay, so the systems approach defines an organization as a complex whole consisting of mutually interdependent and interacting parts, which are viewed as subsystems. Okay, so a system is defined as an organized or complex whole, an assemblage or combination of things or parts forming a complex unitary whole. Okay, so systems approach means every organization is a system made up of number of subsystems which are interrelated and interdependent. Okay, like subsystems are technical subsystem, social subsystem, power subsystem, etc. And each of the departments is also a system comprising number of subsystems. Okay, so here systems approach tells us that organization and its subsystems can be analyzed only in relation to each other and in relation to the external environment. Okay, so systems approach means they have to study, they have to analyze within the systems, within the subsystems, and at the same time their relation with external environment also. In other words, no part of the system can be analyzed and understood without understanding the whole system. Okay, and that whole system cannot be accurately analyzed and understood without understanding the parts. Okay, so without understanding the subsystems. So this is because an organization is a complex system of subsystems, and any change in a subsystem tends to have a reaction in other subsystem. Okay, so therefore the various subsystems are interrelated and interdependent. They are arranged according to some scheme so that whole is more than the sum of the parts or subsystems. So for example, in a business enterprise, production, sales and other departments are the subsystems, as I said before. Okay, so all these subsystems are functionally interacting and interdependent on each other. They are tied together into an organic whole through goals, authority flows, resource flows and so on. Okay, so this is the about the systems. Systems approach means analysis. Whole system cannot be accurately analyzed and understood without understanding the subsystems. Okay, so what are the features of systems approach? Okay, features. So what are the features means an organization is a system. Okay, an organization is a system consisting of many subsystems or several subsystems. For example, as I said before, in a business enterprise, production, sales and other departments are the subsystems. All these subsystems are functionally interacting and interdependent. They are tied down into an organic whole through goals, authority flows, which is nothing but chain of command, resource flows and so on. Okay, so this is about the organization is a system consisting of many subsystems, and all the subsystems are interrelated and interdependent. Okay, means on production, marketing will be dependent on marketing, production will be dependent, so interdependent. Okay, and here all the subsystems are interrelated and interdependent. Then the position and function of each subsystem can be analyzed only in relation to other systems and to the organization as a whole rather than in isolation. Okay, so here clearly they can analyze the positions, the functions of each subsystem, but they are analyzed with the in relation to other systems, relation to the organization as a whole, because here subsystems are interdependent and interrelated. Okay, their positions and the functioning will be clearly explained according to the relations maintained in the organization. Then the organization provides boundary which separates it from the other systems. For example, internal and external. Internal means, for example, the persons who are associated with organizations internally, they are considered as internal, and the persons who are associated externally with the organization, they are considered as external. They are outside the boundary of the organization. For example, employees are within the organization, okay, so they are considered as internal part. Okay, likewise customers are outside the boundary. Why? Because they are associated outside with the organization. Okay, so then the organization is a dynamic system because it is responsive or sensitive to the environment. Okay, why it is dynamic means, according to the changes in the environment, according to that, immediately the organizations also, they will change. Okay, so it is vulnerable to changes in environment. Then this system approach treats the organization as an open system. Okay, so the systems approach, it treats the organization as an open system. Okay, so this open system is nothing but, here every person here, they are free to express their views and opinions in the organization. So the system approach treats this organization as an open system. Okay, and also management is multidisciplinary. Okay, it draws and integrates knowledge from various disciplines and schools of thought. It integrates relevant knowledge from various disciplines. Okay, it is the major contribution of systems approach to management. So systems approach is multidisciplinary approach also. Okay, so this is another, we can add another point as seventh point, like it is a multidisciplinary subject. Okay, management is multidisciplinary. Okay, then if you see the benefits of systems approach. Okay, so what are the benefits means, first one is new approach. Okay, so new approach. So new approach means systems approach is a refreshing new thinking of an organization and management. Okay, so it stresses that managers should avoid analyzing problems. Okay, it stresses that managers should avoid analyzing problems in isolation. Okay, it stresses that managers should avoid analyzing the problems where in isolation. Okay, but they have to analyze the problems integratively, means they should develop the quality of integrity, ability to integrate thinking, means they have to mingle with their subordinates or else with the persons who they are working, and they have to try to analyze the problems, but not individually. They have to think. Okay, they have to think integratively. So systems approach considers management is totality and in parts. Okay, management is as organization as a system, but can having subsystems. So this implies that there should be integration of various forces which affects the management. So integration should be there, cooperation, cohesiveness should be there while analyzing any problems. Okay, individually manager should not think, he has to integrate the other persons also in order to resolving the problems. So it provides a strong conceptual framework for meaningful analysis and understanding of organizations. So it recognizes the interaction and interdependence among different variables in the environment. So we can say that by this new approach as synergy. Okay, means many people like subject experts or any other persons all forming into a group of 5 to 6 members, forming a group, try to analyze the problem and finding solution for that problem. Okay, which is nothing but synergy. And if you see another benefit, which is nothing but integration. So integration is the combination. Okay, so systems approach integrates all elements, okay, for proper and smooth functioning of the organization. Then goal achievement, this is the third aspect. The organization's overall goal can be achieved successfully because The systems approach considers all aspects of the problem deeply and maintain harmonious relations. Okay, at the same time, harmonious relations between various elements. Why? Because all of them work together, all of them integrate, then they will work on that problem. Okay, so they sit together and try to resolve the problem deeply. Then acquisition and maintenance. The systems approach helps in acquisition and maintenance of various resources like man, material, money and machinery. Okay, so this is also another benefit with the systems approach. Then adaptation. Systems approach allows adaptation to internal requirements and environmental changes in order to survive and grow. So adaptation means it is ready for accepting the changes. Okay, so this is a good sequence. Okay, so according to the changes, it is ready to change. Okay, adapting the changes according to the requirements, according to the environmental changes. Okay, then if you see limitations, okay, or else the disadvantages means, first one is abstract approach. Systems approach is purely theoretical, okay, conceptual and vague. It is not that much clear and abstract. Okay, very short, like summary. So it cannot directly and easily be applied to practical problems. When it comes to practical application, okay, we need very facts. Okay, proper figures, facts and figures. Okay, so it does not offer specific tools and techniques for practicing the executives. Okay, definite tools and techniques are not there. So moreover, this approach does not recognize differences in the systems. It fails to specify the nature of interaction and interdependence. How to? Okay, it failed to express, particularly between an organization and its external environment, how the interaction should be. It failed to it fails to specify the nature of interactions, interdependencies. Okay, so therefore its contribution to management is limited. Okay, then lack of universality. Systems approach lacks universality. Okay, its precepts cannot be applied to all organizations. Only big organizations are benefited by applying this systems approach. Okay, it is not suitable for small organizations. Why? Because in big organizations we will have different departments, more departments. But if you see in a very small organization with 20 to 50 members, okay, there we cannot see more personal department, HR department, IT department, production department, likewise. Okay, so in that cases this systems approach may not be useful. So that is why we said lack of universality. Okay, then if you see, systems approach is often criticized being too abstract and vague, means it is unclear. Okay, so it cannot directly and easily be applied to the practical problems. It does not offer specific tools and techniques. It fails to offer a unified body of knowledge, means universal applicability is not there. Okay, then if you see this thing here, see how it affects. Here we see inputs and outputs, and organization system means this is the transforming process, management process. Okay, so here finally what we will get: employee satisfaction, product and services, profits and losses. By using inputs, transforming inputs into outputs, efficiency, employment satisfaction, products and services, okay, profits or losses can be seen. Okay, transformation process. But by the external environment, here environment will be there, it also affects the inputs and outputs. Okay, so if we see, some ideas in system theory significantly affect management thinking. Okay, so they include open and closed systems, entropy, synergy and subsystems. So what are included in systems theory? Okay, what are included, what is the concept means? Here if we see about this systems theory, it includes open system. Okay, means must interact with the environment to survive. Closed systems need not interact with the environment. So open system means interacting with the environment. There should be proper interaction, free and fair interaction, freely express their views and opinions. Okay, so in the classical and management science perspectives, organizations were frequently thought of as closed systems, means there is no interaction, no expression of their views and opinions. Okay, so in management science perspective, it is a closed system. Okay, so absence of external disturbances are sometimes used to simplify problems for quantitative analysis. In reality, all organizations are open systems. Okay, and the cost of ignoring the environment may be failure. If at all we ignore the external environment, okay, definitely failure will be seen. Why? Because the internal aspects, the organization depends upon the changes in the external environment. So therefore interaction with the environment is very important. An open system should be there. So under the systems theory, it gives importance, it includes open system, not closed system. Okay, then entropy is a universal property of systems and refers to their tendency to run down and die. Okay, if a system does not receive fresh inputs and energy from its environment, it will eventually cease to exist. Means the sustainability of the product or else the sustainability of the organization will be a question mark. So organizations must monitor the environment. Okay, must monitor the environment, adjust to changes, continuously bring in new inputs, and in order to survive and prosper. Okay, so whenever it is necessary, you should receive the fresh inputs, not outdated. Okay, so managers try to design the organization or environment interface to reduce entropy. Okay, entropy is universal property of systems and it refers to the tendency to run down and die. Means you have to use the existing inputs, the fresh inputs you have to introduce. Okay, and energy from its environment. So another thing, the third aspect is synergy, means whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Okay, means the combination of persons, the ideas, the opinions, the views and expressions of 4 to 5 members on a particular problem will be taken. They will deeply think about the problem. Okay, then a solution will be find out by the 5 to 6 members having their subject expertise, okay, their knowledge. They will try to resolve the problem. But if you think individually, you may not get, or else you may not find out the problem. So synergy means whole is greater than sum of its parts. Okay, so when an organization is formed, something new comes into the world. Management, coordination, production that did not exist before are now present. So organizational units working together can accomplish more than those same units working alone. So the sales department depends on production and vice versa. Here dependency, interdependency, interrelations are very important, and at the same time, okay, thinking individually is not good. Okay, you have to go for integration thinking, that is synergy. Okay, next, subsystems depend on one another as parts of a system. Changes in one part of organization affects other parts. The organization must be managed as a coordinated whole. Managers who understand subsystems interdependence are reluctant to make changes that do not recognize subsystems impact on the organization as a whole. Here we can say that subsystems depends, means here we know that organization is a system. Under organization as a system, we have subsystems which are nothing but the different departments of the organization. So here we see that this theory says that interdependence and interrelationships is very important here. Okay, so why? Because they may know the changes in the organization, they will know about the external environment. Okay, if at all the subsystems are working integratively, okay, when one person is dependent on the other person, when one department is dependent on the other person, they will know about the changes. Okay, and they will recognize the about their importance, and at the same time they will they will know about the changes in the environment and try to act according to the changes in the environment. Okay, so systems means, subsystems means they depend on one another. One system will dependent on the other subsystem. Okay, so if you consider Toyota's, okay, Toyota highly successful, it is highly successful, Toyota. Okay, why? Because it is application of the just in time, okay, just in time inventory control system. Okay, this is just in time is a method that is followed in the inventory system, which aims to keep inventory at its lowest. Means they will not maintain its stock in very large capacity. Okay, after they receive any order, then they will try to produce the product and they will give the production. Okay, so just in time means they will not keep inventory. Okay, very low inventory they will maintain. So that is the secret of the Toyota's highest successful application of just in time. And managers knew that the best way to make the system work was to let employees on the factory floor control the flow of materials. Okay, so the flow of materials is controlled by the employees only, not the top level management. So decentralization of power is given. So thus the change in production required by that company also make changes in culture and structure. Okay, the culture and structure will be changed in this company. Okay, means the person who is working at the ground floor, he will know about the material, how much material is there, how much flow of material is going on in the work. Okay, how much is required. So all these aspects will be known by him. So the company has given the authority or the power to the employees in that floor. Okay, so wastage cannot be seen. So Toyota decentralized decision making also. Okay, so that employees doing the work were empowered to make choices about how to accomplish. Okay, like cultural values were shifted to encourage every employee to think creatively about improving his or her particular piece of organization and to see problems as opportunities. Okay, they will see see problems as opportunities. Okay, not as threats for learning. Okay, and improving their capacity. So major changes in an organization often take quite some time because of the interconnection of the organization's subsystems. So subsystems plays important role in the organization. Okay, so now if we see the third aspect, which is nothing but the contingency or situational approach. So we'll see this in the next episode. Okay.